We thought it's too difficult for them to understand. Which is what we are saying about
No,
tectonic
because
plates now.
and because that has become common knowledge. If addition now that I disagree again out here. Please do not mind. Okay, I prefer going through discussion in this manner. Um, we already where was I? Got mixed up.
Addition.
Addition, yeah. The question then was if addition doing in that manner was correct or not. The question now is whether the tectonic plate activity is actually happening that way or not. That's why it is being taught in college. Once that becomes common knowledge, pushing it down.
No, that will not get pushed down too much. Because
Not too
of
much.
the amount of information we have to
Because that,
Yeah, you may not have time to do it. But that's not the point I was trying to make. The point I was trying to make was that they are able to invent a fairly advanced method of figuring out what is true.
That is fine. That is absolutely
by themselves, which they are actually stopped from doing normally.
Here there is one
normally
more.
they're told what it is. Why? Because we think that at that age it should be told. So I bring it back to what if we bring the PhD method to the 9-year-old?
Exactly, sir. We actually did that in person. We have started a school kind. I mean, I'm not rather call it a school actually.
Well, there is no other word. So,
Yeah.
for lack of the word, Hughley Center maybe. It's called
and-
Ek Pahal. And we are trying to instill the learning, like
capability of the we want to
I have
want to build the inner capability of the student who are unable to get the proper education from schools, and we are just we have all our before other meetings, and we are working on that, and we have just started it for last 1 month, and we are just giving them the glimpse of science. They don't know about aeroplanes and something. We are just making them learn and what is the use of that thing. We're just
with demonstrations and videos.
so for
So what do you do?
Yeah, I have taken almost 20 hours of classes in 3 weeks. What I did was, none of them, I was teaching with the 9th and 10th kids. None of them know about the theory of relativity or the theory of, the wave theory of light and all. So I was like, I provoked a thought into them, like, what can this be? So they actually were, all of them were very interested in that teaching, and they replied me that this never happens in our schools.
No, I can understand that. But I mean, obviously it is an effective method, but your handicap would be that if you are not able to get them the internet, then how would they go further? Because just with discussion you cannot get to this.
Sir, we are just planning and we are just
Actually, it's just we told them, okay, you find the answer by yourself. Ask maybe if you can give the answer, or ask your teacher, or ask something because no internet. So in the next class we give the answer to them.
I think they are handicapped because of the loss of funds also.
As the internet is not available, what we did was we actually took our experimental setup there and showed them that this is what happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's sort of, you can make a hybrid kind of method, but that's about as far as you can go. But with the internet, it doesn't have to be hybrid because it can be open. And it doesn't matter how many connections you have, it's even one is good enough. Because they will find their way to share it and so on. So anyhow,
one question I had, like, as discussed before, we are actually trying to instill that learning tendency in kids who have come from the traditional set of structure. So we are facing like that difficulty is there, how to instill curiosity in, and as you said, the kids in your case, they were interested in finding out the answer to the question rather than playing Angry Birds. So we are actually at that
it's a
version.
question of how you build up to it. So, and the build-up can be different for different things. In the case of the tectonic plates question, it's actually quite a boring question. So you can't just tell them this is the question. Then they'll say we are not interested in it. So, but what I did was I showed them the question and I said, you know what, I can't understand a word of the question itself. So then they start laughing. So they say, what could it possibly mean? What is a tectonic plate? My teeth are shaking while saying it. You build it up like that. Then they engage. Because it's kind of fun after that. What is an igneous rock? How do you pronounce that word? That way. So that's one way to build up. The other way is if the question is intrinsically interesting, which is also fairly easy to make. I mean, I just made one, which I've used before actually, which is tell them a number and ask them to repeat it. So they say 9, so they say 9. So then you say 9, 14, 9, 14. Then you say 9, 14, 73, 85, 9, 17, 60. Then they start laughing. So you can't repeat that. So I said, where does it stop? So now you've got their attention. So then you say, why is it that up to so many digits you can, and after that you can't? And anyway, when I started the session, what was the first simple sequence? And they said 9. And I said the next one, 9 and 14. The third one, we don't remember that. So I said, why does that happen? So the question was, how do we remember and why do we forget? So again, 30, 40 minutes later, they
But
come.
aren't you effectively playing the role of a teacher?
No, because I'm
Because
not.
you're building up a question.
I'm not instructing.
Yeah, but then you see, we
thought-provoking
got back to the same point which we were
He's
discussing
provoking
during the
the
lunch
thought.
hours.
Yeah.
Is that you provided the prime direction already?
Yes.
So that's what we were like emphasizing on previously. Is that we need a direction. Without the direction,
No, that's like saying the catalyst doesn't give any direction to the reaction. The catalyst just enables the reaction, isn't it?
yeah, but
Still
then
you
that
need
still
the
is
catalyst,
required.
sir.
Of
Otherwise
course
the
you
reaction
need,
will
of
not
course
be
you need the
feasible.
catalyst. You need the catalyst, but the catalyst does nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
So our problem in the teaching learning situation is that the teacher doesn't act as a catalyst. The teacher tries to act as a reagent.
No, we need to understand that the current system, we do not need teachers in their current sense, but rather we need, as you said, a psychiatric counselor.
Something like that.
What he does, I believe he does need to have some understanding of the subject because he has to ask the right questions. Right? As we were talking, very directionally, right?
Yeah. So he should be in the same teaching method as
The
children
method
with.
needs to be changed.
So when there is a transition, it's hard for the teachers to translate. So children who are actually in the new method, when they become teachers, that's easy for them.
We have to create a new breed of teachers.
Yeah.
Never know, I
Army.
think
Let's try it. Let's try it. It's very easy to test this. We know that in order to study the evolution of the magnetic field on the sun's outer surface, you need to simulate the solutions to an equation called the Navier-Stokes equation. What could the Navier-Stokes equation be about in that case, if you had to guess? It's an unfair situation, but if I were to leave you all four alone,
Should be about the previous.
you would get to it sooner or later. And obviously, if you had the internet, it will take you 2 minutes. but if you didn't, you still would get to the fact that it has something to do with the mass of gas rotating faster and faster. Okay, and that those equations must be predicting the next position of the fluid or whatever it is. So, I don't know if that is built on knowledge that was accumulated by Aristotle, or it's something that you generate in your own head. So depending on that question, nobody has the answer. So depending on that answer, the nature of learning will be completely different.
I think we need more controlled experiments. More control as in flexing one parameter rather than.
Did I get it right by the way? Navier-Stokes equation करना है ना simulate करने के लिए.
Along with the electromagnetic.
Right. But anyway, it's also got this ball of rotating plasma and produces a magnetic field. If you could predict the flow, then you would get to the magnetic field over time. This is what they're, between 2 or 3 of them, they're trying to do. And the middle of all this is the Navier-Stokes equation, whoever they were.
So we need to wrap the discussion now
Okay.
because we are.
All right, let's go.
We need to go.